About 250,000 Zimbabweans have asked the High Court in Gauteng to declare them permanent residents of South Africa. This follows the expiry, comes ahead of the expiry of their Zimbabwe Exemption Permits that's expected to happen around December, if I understand correctly. They are asking the court to direct the Minister of Home Affairs to issue them with South African ID documents. We are now joined by Advocate Simba Chitando from the Zimbabwean Exemption Permit Holders Association to give us more insight into that story. Advocate, thank you for your time. So just give us the outline and contours of your court action. What is it that you are asking the High Court to do?
Okay, before I begin, just to clarify, I'm not from the Zimbabwe Exemption Association. I'm a lawyer that has been briefed by them.
Okay.
The number is not 250,000, it is reduced because I think at first it was 250,000 at the first dispensation of the first or the second.
Yes.
And then that number reduced because many others didn't renew the previous time. But to answer your question, yes, these applicants are seeking relief from the High Court to declare, well, to renew their permits, which we are arguing should be permanent residence permits, and they would like to have their status declared unconditional permanent residence in the country, and obviously also to to get IDs and all the necessary documentation that comes with permanent residency in the country, so they can live ordinary lives equal to all other people in this country with residency in the country.
Yeah. What are you founding this application on? On what basis are you making this?
The Immigration Act. The Immigration Act, the Identification Act.
And what?
And the Constitution, obviously, which is the bedrock of all those other laws.
Without a question. But I guess what I'm asking is, what is the basis of that claim, that rather than be discussing renewal, non-renewal of the Zimbabwe Special Dispensation Permits, we should be talking permanent residence in this instance? Is it because of the length of time that they've been in the country, or such other factors?
Absolutely, that's a very good point. You see, well, first of all, there's the provision in the Immigration Act which provides for various rights, including permanent residency. And we are arguing that these are people that have been in the country for more than 10 years. These are the most productive years of these individuals' lives. It would be with renewals, which you expect, I think most people expect a renewal after December, because we've heard nothing to suggest to the contrary. But what we do know is that it will be 15, probably even 20 years of the most productive years of a human being's life, where they should be building their financial futures, looking after their children, and they're now, in a second-class citizen category, denied financial services that they could get or should be getting if they're permanent residents in the country. They're denied various other rights and even obligations, but more importantly, rights that entitle them to, the lives that they should be living, an ordinary life that every person in the country should have.
I can only imagine, though, the complexity of the case that you'll be presenting before court, right? Because the circumstances differ, and I'm just imagining that, I don't know how many applicants do you have, and just trying to get the court to appreciate the different circumstances of each and every applicant, or are you doing a blanket application without bringing to the fore the specific circumstances of each and every applicant?
Well, good that you've mentioned applicants. There's 2 organizations and then several individuals. I think the individuals are about 30. That number might increase. We're expecting them to increase with time, now that people are aware of what we're doing. Other Zimbabweans who was exemption permit holders might not want to do it. But the 2 organizations, African Amity and the Zimbabwean Exemption Holders Association, those 2 organizations, they are moving for their members. And then you have the individuals who have their own individual circumstances who have applied. But the most important thing is the basis of their applications are, almost identical, very similar.
Yeah.
You might have 1 or 2 applicants who who for whatever reason are undesirable because of something they've done. But, you know, that is something that we'd look into. This is a very large case. I believe it is the largest that's ever been done in this country as it grows. So and probably the most important to the region. So we will see. It's not going to be easy.
Yes.
If your question is it going to be easy with the judges agree with all our submissions off the bat, we'll find out. That is something we await the papers from Home Affairs, but yes, we've got work ahead of us.
I don't know if I got your answer as to how many people this represents. Initially, we talked about 250,000, but the number has reduced. Roughly how many are we talking about now?
I believe someone told me, I think it's about 180,000. I have to get back to you there.
All right. No,
but it's
fine.
A large number.
It is a large number.
It's a large number of individuals. And we have to also remember that each one of those individuals does not stand alone.
Yes.
They have family members, they've got dependents. From the last regime, which was about 4 years ago, people would have got married, they would have had children. Their circumstances would have changed. They would have made investments, significant investments in the country. Bought land, bought farms. I know some of them own farms. Some of them have, you know, makes considerable investments, so they can't just leave on the 31st of December. To the extent that at a political level, perhaps, migration becomes a controversy in South Africa. You and I know what I'm talking about, that it does become contested terrain, the degree to which, you know, the ease with which South Africa should be facilitating migration within the country and, you know, with neighboring countries, etc. What would you say is the importance of this case to those who view it in that light, who view migration in that light? Why is this important in the scheme of South Africa's constitution and the rights that it entitles, including people who are non-South Africans, in some of its provisions, but locates that within the controversy that arises from time to time around migration? Yes, well, the controversy is, I'd like to think, or, you know, with respect, old think. The new way of the new direction that the region is taking is consistent with the African Free Trade Agreement, movement of goods and services, people as well. That's all included there. Our region is considered one. We are so integrated at this stage. Those who believe that you can ring-fence economies, you can ring-fence job opportunities and business, that is old think. That is the way of the past. The way of the future does not accommodate that negative sentiment towards migration within the region. South Africa cannot go it alone. It cannot do without Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe cannot do without South Africa. That is a fact. And until the leaders who are stumbling blocks to that come to terms with this fact, and even the public, many South Africans are related to that 180,000, even the large number of 250, the ones that did not who do not renew for whatever reason, whatever circumstance. Some passed away, some have migrated elsewhere, whatever the story is. But they're related. South Africans are related to Zimbabwe's one people, one Africa, one SADC, one region. And the leaders have to accept that. Otherwise, they will be left behind. Unfortunately, they'll be left behind.
Simba, maita basa baba, tutenda zvikuru. Tozoona kuti nyaya yenyu inofamba sei mukoti.
Rakanaka, thank you for having me, Shamwari.
All right, well,
Sure.
Thank you. That's Simba Chitando there, representing some of the applicants in that court case that will be happening in the Gauteng High Court over the coming weeks and months, and we'll be watching it very closely to see what the outcome is on that matter.